Wicked Witches. I'm on holiday and I'm staying somewhere that has very limited Wi-Fi. So I was planning today to live stream and talk to whoever was able to join me about archetypes and how wonderful it is to get to know one's archetype. But because the internet's not very good, I'm not going to be able to live stream. So I thought I would make a video instead. So it's going to be a bit shorter than if I was live streaming, and you're not going to be able to ask the questions directly, but you could ask questions in the comments. I'll be posting this on YouTube and posting the link. So if you have any questions, you could ask on there. And I will do a live stream on this subject at some point over Twitch. So let's talk about archetypes. Some people know about Carl Jung's archetypes, which I think is possibly where it began being discussed as a thing. And he talks about like the healer, the hero, I don't know them because I don't know, I haven't actually studied his work. But he created this kind of idea, and that's a whole thing that you can go and research, which looks great, and I'm really interested in it. But it's not the archetypal work that I do. So, $15 years ago, roughly, or no, maybe 18, 2002, I began working with a gentleman named Jonathan Kay, and he's a fool. And he has been teaching me his theatre technique called fooling since then. And I now teach it at the academy, which I helped him create in 2006, 2007. And fooling, so Jonathan very much is a fool on earth. So he is the archetype of the fool. It's so clear. So some people have a bit of a mixture of archetypes. I have 2 or 3. My husband is a trickster, and his is very clear. So yeah, Jonathan's is very clear. He's a fool. So his work is about you getting to know your fool, which is the archetypal realm. It's your inner world, inner, outer, infinity. When you're in the moment and everything's happening and you're in the flow, they become one. You flip your inner world into your outer world. And that's when if you're ever creating, if you're ever performing or playing music or drawing and you're just in the zone and it's happening and your inner world is coming out, that's when that kink in the infinity is opened up and you've become one. And that's it's Zen, it's what we're all aiming for, darlings. It's what we're going for. And different cultures, like the Aboriginal culture, that was just how they lived their lives. Like that was just the norm, that the inner and the outer were one thing. And what a wonderful reality they lived in. It was a 600,000 year culture, 60,000 year old culture that had no archaeological evidence showing that there'd ever been a war. And we killed them off like 100 years ago. Well done us. So it works. Like when you make your inner and outer one, it makes the outer world sacred, and it brings all of the magic and joy of the imagination into the outer world. I mean, who doesn't want that? So that's what we're working towards, and that's what we're trying to create. And part of the work is to know what you're bringing to the party. And if you imagine it is a play, like the whole of life is a play, simulations within simulations, then like, what are you playing? And it's interesting because Jonathan keeps fooling as a theatre thing, which stops it being a guru thing, which stops it being a spiritual thing. It's totally spiritual, is exactly what it is. But by making it theatre, it stops it becoming guru-ish. And actually, it's exactly where I'm coming from with the work that I do. So like this, La Luna, the Witch's Coven, all of this stuff is about us making the world like this. Like, why not? So I see it all as theatre, it's all performance, but everything is simulations within simulations. So if we are within this simulation, which let's call it the game of life, And someone thought it'd be really funny to make a little board game called the Game of Life and put it in the simulation, like it's a kind of nod at the camera. We're playing the Game of Life and we're all characters in it. What character are you? And all characters are part of a lineage, you know. So if you imagine like EastEnders, like Pat and Barbara Windsor, Babs, can't remember what her name was in there. Barbara? I don't know. They are from a similar lineage. You can see, can't they're cut from the same cloth. So's Cat Slater. Like, Cat's got slightly a touch of something else, but like they're basically the same lineage. Frank's a certain type of character. You know, like you've just got, they fit in to a lineage that can be seen in commedia dell'arte, Shakespeare plays, other films, books, music. You know, there's songs like folk songs that have characters in, like Steel Eye Span songs that will have characters in that fit with characters from EastEnders. You know, that we're all part of a lineage. And my background's in theatre, and within theatre it's like, what's your typecasting? And it's quite a hard thing to get your head around because everyone turns up at drama school like, I can play anything, I could be anything. And it's like, yeah, of course you can, but no one's going to cast you in the same role that Morgan Freeman's going to be going for. You're going to be cast in a different role. So although you all are capable as actors of playing anything, and the reason why you are is because our inner world is all one. You know, back there we are all one. So yeah, we can all be anything. But out here we've got a body, and so people are interpreting us in a particular way, not just based on looks, but by like the soul that we have, like the essence, the atmosphere that we give off, which is why it is different to Jung's archetype thing and why it's different to typecasting, because what we're talking about here is soul work. It's like what flavour does your soul have, and what other characters throughout history and in theatre and in culture has that same flavour? What's your lineage? And it's really useful to discover it, because until you do, you're a puppet of it rather than a priestess of it. So if you imagine, for example, that your atmosphere is a paedophile, right? That's the atmosphere you give off. You're not. You're a really lovely young person who wants to be an actor, but the kind of characters that you're going to go for, I actually know someone, so that I can even give you a specific example. So I know someone who's quite dashing, like dashing enough to be an actor, be a film star, but he had really bad acne as a kid, so his skin's very marked, and he's very sexual, ginger, very tall, not physically built in a way where he'd be like the hero. He basically, the first big break he got in a film was as a paedophile, as a nasty, violent kind of running a paedophile ring. Now, like, that's a really hard pill to swallow. If you are at drama school and they're like, this is your typecasting, like, how do you take that, right? Now, if you're going to be a puppet of it, like, you could get really nasty. It could really mess with your head. It might send you down a dark path. Like, who knows? Like, if you let it, so it's the saying, create or be created. If you let it create you, then that could be really bad. That could be a really bad thing that happens to you. Or it's create or be created. So he created with it. He played that role. He smashed it. He's been in so many films. He's been in films, you you'll know who this person is. And he's now a Hollywood star. But the parts he plays are always the slightly nasty, weaselly characters. He's awesome. He's a really funny, very sexual, raw person who is creating rather than being created by the atmosphere that he is, the archetype that he has. He's a priest of it. He's absolutely smashing it. He's smashing it. So it can be that we have a blind spot. So in our archetype is a blind spot. We can't see it. It's a bit like working out what your animal essence is as well. You know, like, my animals are the bear and the pig. Now, I didn't want to be a pig, but I am a pig. You can see me as Miss Piggy. And my lineage is Aphrodite. Great, wonderful. But it's definitely down a more strumpet line. So I'm much more like Nancy from Oliver Twist, the landlord's daughter in Wicker Man, Pat Butcher, Barbara Windsor. We share a lineage. You know, I'm very like animal print and big earrings. Now, that's not necessarily like I now love it, and I now am a priestess of it. So I'm so comfortable in that my life is ridiculous. It's a decadent mess of leopard print, pat butcherness. Awesome. But that's because I learned to own it. Definitely when I was at drama school, that's not how I wanted to be seen. I wanted to be like the ethereal wood nymphy, long-haired, gracious Juliet. You know, I all the things I imagined I was and could be, I've had to let go of and be like, well, you know, they're all in my inner world. I'm capable of them. But if I played Juliet in Romeo and Juliet, I would be quite a kind of, it would have to be a bit of a modern take on it where we were getting like street kids to do it or something. You know what I mean? It's like, it couldn't be, I'm not the elegant horse riding long haired ethereal thing that I like to think I was in my head. So even if, I mean, I think I'm quite lucky. I mean, a lot of people don't want to be Miss Piggy and Pat Butcher, but now that I own it and I enjoy it, like, it doesn't seem like it's a problem, you know, and there's no problem with me being those things. But the first time that I realised that I was like Miss Piggy was not a happy moment in my life. But then when I owned it, and because it so is me, and it's really funny that I say it, everyone's like, yeah, it's part of you and you're owning it. You're owning the thing that's in your blind spot. So that's what it's all about. So what I do is I do a course called Which Fool Are You, where I support people during a lunar cycle to get to know and discover what their archetypes are and how to work with them. And I really love doing it. And we have a full moon party where we all come as our archetypes. And you don't have to, not everyone's necessarily there yet, but if you found it, then you will come and work with that in a full moon ceremony on Zoom. And it was one of the most wonderful experiences of my life to see people shining, because you shine when you're channeling your archetype. You really shine. And I really enjoy doing it. And I'm going to be starting the next one will be in October when I get back from my pilgrimage. And the full moon will be the full moon of Halloween, where the veils are thinnest between the different realms, the inner and the outer. So it's going to be a powerful one. So if you're in any way interested in working with your archetype and finding out what your archetype is, then do sign up for the course. It's already on Eventbrite, so you can sign up for it now. And yeah, I'm really excited about it. And next year, in the lead up to Valentine's Day, I'm going to be doing a course called The Manual of Me. And it's going to be a process where we write a manual about like what we like sexually, what our bodies need, what our ailments are, what things just really don't, like, really revolt us or are not the bits of the body we don't want to be touched or whatever. Things that we've never done that we'd love to try, like what our favourite smells and tastes are, what our archetype is. And so it'd be really good, if that in any way interests you, to do the archetypal course first, and then we'll do this manual of me. So instead of writing a list of what you're looking for in a partner, you instead have a manual that's like, whoever you do get together with is like, here I am. And it would just be really useful for you. And even if you don't give it to a partner, but you might want to give it to them on Valentine's Day, which is why it's in the lead up to Valentine's Day. But if it might just be really useful for you to do it so that you know who you are and what you want. I mean, I'm looking forward to doing it. I'm really excited about doing that. So they're the authors that are there, and I really enjoy doing this work. It's definitely my favourite thing that I've started doing so far. I'm really enjoying this. So if that's of any interest to you, then do sign up. And yeah, I just love archetypal work. It's the best. It's the juiciest bit of fooling. And it got cut off and given to religion. You know, it was the bit that got nicked, like ancient Greek theatre got taken away and turned into religion. But we claim it all back. It's all theatre. Nothing's real. It'll be created. But play it like your life depends on it.